everyone, today I am here with my February wrap-up. I'm going to tell you what I read during the month of February. As you may have known, I got married during the month of February, so I did not get as much reading done as I wanted to. There was also all of the preparation leading up to the wedding, including making this bouquet out of book pages. I figured out afterwards that including letting glue dry and stuff, it took about an hour of flour to make this. I did, however, get some reading done, and I'm not too upset about my reading level for this last month. It wasn't too bad. I did a pretty good job, actually, in keeping things balanced for this last month. And without further ado, I'll just jump into what I read. I started off by reading Mistborn: The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I ended up giving this book a 5 out of 5 stars. It is the first book in a trilogy. This book is 643 pages, and it had a lot of great points. I'm going to start off with the one bad point that I had on this, is that it does not tell you the kind of political system that exists already. The whole point of this book is that they're attempting to overthrow that political system, but without an understanding on how it works for the readers. I still would have really liked to have understood the way the Lord Ruler had things going. The characters in this book are really impressive. My favorites would include the main character, Ven, who I liked particularly in this book. I also absolutely loved Kelsier. Kelsier was just absolutely a hysterical character, and he brought a lot of brightness to this world where they're pretty much thieves trying to overthrow an oppressive ruler. And then you have Sazed. I loved Sazed in this book. He has this kind of quiet sarcasm. Another great part of this was the magic systems. You have Allomancy, which allows you to gain different abilities depending on which metals you eat and then use. Some people can use all of the metals that have powers associated to them. Some people can only use one. And you have Feruchemy, which allows people to go without a certain ability like sight to store it up for later usage where they can do better sight. It's kind of a balance type thing. You have to give so much and then you can get that much more at a later time. Another great thing about this book was when you got to meet the guy that Ven kind of falls in love for in this book, and the way that they meet was kind of special because he was reading a book. It is kind of hard, I've noticed, for us who love books not to also love characters who love books. The book I picked up immediately after finishing the first book in the Mistborn series was the next book in the Mistborn series. This is The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. It was 763 pages and I gave it 4.5 stars. It lost that half star by kind of getting on my nerves a little bit. At the beginning of each chapter, it pulls from another part of a text from within this world. It is from a metal sheet that Sazed found at the very beginning of the book. And it just kept repeating certain parts of it without telling you the why. It kept saying, we shouldn't have done this, we shouldn't have done this, we shouldn't have done this. And the whole time I'm thinking, okay, I believe you. Now tell me why. And it didn't really do that until the very, very end, and it was the pivot point of the whole book, but the fact that it kept repeating like that, I just kind of got on my nerves a little bit. I wanted to read something new, get a little bit more information instead of the same information over and over again. And I do know why it was doing that, and it is an important part to the series, but it still kind of just got on my nerves. Another reason I didn't like it so much is that Kelsier is not in this book. I'm not going to spoil it and tell you why he's not in this book, but it was definitely lacking with him. And then there was also how outmatched Vin and Elend are in this book that made them seem like they weren't such a great match together as a couple, that I just did not really, I didn't enjoy this book as much as I did the other two. It was still a fantastic, fantastic book and a great second book in the series, just not my favorite one in the trilogy. I think the biggest plus for this book, though, was Orser, the Kandra. I absolutely loved his character, and he was, for me, the best part of this second book. My favorite, and he's probably my favorite character for the whole trilogy. He's a fantastic, fantastic character, and I absolutely fell in love with him. Another thing of interest in this book is that it introduces a new character. Other than Orser. And that character is Zane. Zane is a Mistborn who is determined to kind of be the one who will take Vin away from Aland. But he has a lot of issues in himself that kind of make Vin stop and take notice. And I'm not sure if he was a plus for this book or if he took away from this book. He was necessary, and I think I liked him as a character because some of the things he said that I agreed with the entire time. And the last book I read for the month of February was not, as you may think, the third book of the Mistborn trilogy. It was Son of No One by Sherilyn Kenyon. Son of No One got 4 stars. Sherilyn Kenyon writes great romance novels. They're kind of light and fluffy sometimes, and they are always very quickly paced, and I get through them very quickly. I read this one in less than 24 hours. It was a great book. Not her best, not my favorite, but it was a great book. Part of what made it a great book was that my favorite character from this entire series was in this book, and that would be Thorn. I absolutely loved Thorn. It also explored the Celtic pantheon a little bit better. This series normally is based through the Greek pantheon, and in one of the book it follows a character, Talon, who is part of the Celtic faith. Delved a little bit into the Celtic pantheon for that book, and it did it a lot more for this book. The only downside really to this book is that it lacked an actual ending. It will probably be part of like a 2-part story, so that's why there was no actual ending, but it really felt that kind of taper off into nothingness. That's not truly an ending. That's all I have for you guys tonight, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!